Welcome back, my friends. Currently, we're on day 292 of Russia's disastrous invasion of Ukraine. And when we check in with the war map on deepstatemap.live, there's been very little movement from either side for the last couple weeks. The reason why is it is currently mud season in Ukraine, with mixtures of both snow and rain falling on the battlefield, makes offensive operations very difficult. But we did get a statement from Minister of Defense Reznikov this week stating the armed forces of Ukraine will resume active counteroffensive actions when the soil freezes and becomes more suitable for the passage of equipment. So Ukraine has big plans in the works. These are probably coming in either January or February. But in the meantime, they're going to continue softening up Russian positions with their HIMARSed launchers. Ukrainian strike hits Russian-occupied Melitopol. Ukraine attacked the Russian-occupied southern city of Melitopol on Saturday evening. And the Russians have a serious problem concerning the city, and the reason why is because from Ukrainian-controlled territory, Melitopol is only 76 kilometers away. This is just within HIMARS striking distance. So if they attempt to use this city as some kind of logistical hub or regional capital to direct field operations, anytime, people of significance start gathering, they're going to get HIMARSed. And this is exactly what happened. There was a hotel acting as barracks and kind of a headquarters for the Russian military, and it was struck with at least 6 of these Gimler's rockets. I can't show you this video because content warning, nudity, violence, and sensitive content. I'll link this video in a pinned comment down below if you want to check it out, but it's pretty devastating. Here are some day after pictures from the strike, and it was estimated that about 200 Russian soldiers were killed from the strike. That doesn't count wounded. And also staying at this particular hotel was Kadyrov's TikTok army. The Chechen soldiers were there, and you can see them in the video being very surprised that they're actually experiencing combat. I don't think the Chechens actually thought that they would have to do any serious fighting. They're just there for the Instagram and the TikToks. The Ukrainians over the last week also struck the Wagner headquarters in Luhansk. They've frequently struck the Wagner headquarters anytime they try and set up a headquarters. Eventually, the intel gets out where they're positioned, and Ukraine targets them and goes after them with Gimler rockets. And even when you're outside of Gimler's range, reportedly in Crimea, in this village, barracks where Russian soldiers were staying caught on fire. So either a Russian soldier was once again being careless with their cigarettes, or partisan activity snuck into this area and then started this fire in the middle of the night. Nowhere on Ukrainian soil is it safe for Russian soldiers. So here's a tweet from friend of the channel, Lieutenant General Ben Hodges. Ukrainian General Staff will continue to pound Russian HQs and lines of communication for the next few weeks, probably through February, in order to set the conditions for the decisive phase of the campaign, the liberation of Crimea. I expect them to liberate Crimea by next August. So that's coming up in about 9 months. So with Ukraine going on the offensive in Luhansk, Zaporizhia, Kherson, and Crimea, what the heck is the Russian military doing? And they continue to be laser focused on this one relatively insignificant city in the Donbass region called Bakhmut. Bakhmut totally destroyed as Russia feeds waves of cannon fodder into the meat grinder. Bakhmut on the verge of total destruction in fierce fighting. People on the ground are saying that it's worse than what the Russians did to the city of Mariupol. So here's a more detailed military map from militaryland.net. And I do think it was possible that the Russians might have captured this city a month ago. They've been trying to take this town for 5 or 6 months. But with the liberation of Kherson, a lot of Ukrainian forces with combat experience from that front, they've now relocated to the Donbass region because the Dnipro River is acting as a nice natural barrier. Neither side is going to conduct operations across the river anytime soon. So a lot of experienced Ukrainian forces have now rotated and they've been sent to Bakhmut. Look at these troop concentrations. This is World War II style fighting. And I don't think the Russians have any chance of taking Bakhmut at this point. Here's an article from The Guardian. I want to read 2 paragraphs to you, but in the Bakhmut meat grinder, deadlocked enemy forces slog it out. So here are the 2 paragraphs I want to read for you. The battle for Bakhmut, however, has become a struggle whose significance has been defined more by the intensity of the Russian efforts there and by the Ukrainian determination to block any Russian advance rather than any overwhelming strategic logic. There's no strategic logic to this city for the Russians. Once seen as a stepping stone on the way to the key Donbas cities of Sloviansk and Kramatorsk, the efforts around Bakhmut appear to have become an end in themselves, whose purpose, for now at least, is about reestablishing a sense of lost military prestige for the Kremlin after months of setbacks on the battlefield. So when the Russians controlled Izium, when the Russians controlled Liman, it made sense to focus on the city of Bakhmut. When you're coming down this M03 highway from the north with Izium to surround Sloviansk, coming from the east from Liman, you also wanted to come from the south, from Bakhmut. But in the last 6 months, the Russians have lost Izium and they've lost Liman, and they have zero chance of ever laying siege to the city of Sloviansk and Kramatorsk. So why are the Russians so focused on Bakhmut? They just want to show that they can do something on the battlefield. They haven't had a decisive win since they took the cities of Severodonetsk and Lysychansk back in June. Here's kind of a sad story of a Ukrainian man, Ilyam Gamanin. He was from the Ukrainian city of Kupiansk, and when the Russians captured the city, he began participating in propaganda videos destroying Ukrainian symbols around town. When the Ukrainians liberated this city, he fled to Russia. He went to Belgorod. This was during the Kharkiv counteroffensive back in August. He was then mobilized by the Russian government and drafted into the army, was sent to Bakhmut, used as cannon fodder, and now he's dead. That is what awaits you if you fall victim to Russian propaganda. And every week on social media, a new video like this comes out of groups of Russian soldiers filming videos, complaining to their leadership, complaining to Putin, complaining to some governor that they're not getting enough support. This appeal is from the instructor of the 247th Airborne Assault Regiment talking to a local governor about not getting enough equipment. And for whatever reason, this guy looks like Sacha Baron Cohen's character Ali G, but let's see what the Russian Ali G has to say.
Я инструктор по боевой подготовке 247-го полка с города Ставрополя. Хочу обратиться к губернатору Кемеровской области Сергею Евгеньевичу. Сергей Евгеньевич, ваши бойцы, которые вы отправили к нам в Ставропольский край, абсолютно практически голые. У них нет ни медицины, из всей медицины у них один жгут. Подойди, любой боец, давай. Из защиты. Но защиты у них никакой практически нет. Только 2 брони. У них полностью, бока полностью, у них все открытое. Ничего практически нет. Ни термобелья, ничего. Пацаны мерзнут, а как бы для выполнения задач на территории Украины там достаточно холодно. Вот. Хотим к вам обратиться с помощью, чтобы вы обратили на это внимание и приняли какие-то соответствующие меры. Ждем от вас.
Something tells me the Russian Ali G is probably going to get arrested pretty soon. But this is the quality of equipment that is ending up on the battlefield from the Russian forces. Allegedly, this helmet is of a Russian invader found by the Ukrainian military. And there's a sticker in English that reads, "Warning, this is a toy. Helmet is not providing any kind of protection, especially not providing ballistic protection." This helmet has been identified, and you can see how much it's sold for online. And this helmet kind of looks like the helmet this Russian soldier is wearing right now in this video. So how are the Ukrainians being equipped? And they're all getting the best NATO can offer them. Here's a clip put out by the United Kingdom Ministry of Defense. These are the Ukrainian soldiers that have been rotating in and out of the UK to receive special training. Here's a clip showing the gear they're being issued.
Give them boots, we give them combats, they get mugs, bags, socks, underwear, they get body armour, helmets, pretty much a normal kit issue for a British soldier as well.
They come to us and we give them all of the stuff they need out in the field, so your liners, your roll mats and everything like that, like everything that we'd get in basic training. So when they get out there, they have the same effect of what we have.
When we first started here, they were all already part of the military, so the morale was fairly high. They already knew what they were doing, so the training course was quite effective for them to just bring their skills higher. We are seeing a bit of a mixed bag now of volunteers as well as those that have already been in the military. Some have previous military experience, some have come straight from the street. We've talked to a few that one day they were an artist or working in a shop, and then the next they're here. So it is a combined effort from Ukraine. They're all very willing to be here and they want to help.
They've been really good, yeah, like especially when you get like the interpreters as well, like you could have a laugh with them because you could say something and then they'll say it in Ukrainian and we'll have a laugh together. It's like one, it doesn't matter that you can't speak a certain language, we're all together.
For this entire war, I have actually been very impressed by how professional looking the Ukrainian forces have appeared fighting on the front lines. I do believe they're getting, the frontline equipment they need to get through this winter. The next clip I have for you is from a Russian military blogger by the name of Vladin Tarsky, and he posted this video expressing his frustration being a pro-Russian military blogger because they've not had much positive to say the last 6 months. In this video, he advocates bombing Kyiv because everyone is starting to see us as weak now without decisive victories. His only hope now is to throw as much Russian meat into Ukraine as possible. Let's watch about 50 seconds of this guy crying.
Просто бомбить Киев. Давайте туда сбрасывать все, что летает. Какие-нибудь старые ракеты. Я не знаю, есть они. У меня уже просто сомнения. Есть ли они? Но если они есть, давайте их просто запускать. Пусть они летят, пусть там страдают киевляне. Ничего нет, да, то есть как бы столица пусть страдает. Да. Смотрите, если мы не будем наносить врагу поражение, все просто поймут, что мы слабы. Там уже бухтит какой-то президент Узбекистана, его граждан нужно просто собрать в 2-3 дня, короче, ОМОН с этим справится, уж поверьте, и вернуть в Узбекистан нужно всех граждан с России. Да. Все уже начинают бухтеть, чувствуя как бы нашу какую-то слабость. Поэтому нужны, конечно же, решительные победы. Не, я бы тоже не хотел, откровенно говоря, применения ядерного оружия, но я думаю, что нас вот подводят сами к этой черте, да, к последней, они вот реально играют с огнем. Будем продолжать верить в победу, будем продолжать верить в то, что...
And that's ultimately what a bully fears most, appearing weak so that other people aren't scared of them anymore. That's currently what's happening with other countries surrounding Russia. More and more, they're not fearing Russia as much and becoming much more emboldened. Russia has poisoned the well of their soft power, and everyone now is questioning whether they have any hard power left. And this Russian military blogger is advocating for carpet bombing Kyiv, and I don't think he understands that this isn't possible. I think a lot of people have the misperception that you load up the long-range strategic bombers and they just start blanket carpet bombing cities, but this World War II style tactic doesn't exist anymore. You can't fly planes over contested airspace. If Russia wanted to load up planes with dumb gravity-driven bombs, their bombers would be shot down by Ukraine's air defense systems. You can't carpet bomb cities that have modern air defense systems. So what is this guy advocating for? And the best Russia could do is their long-range precision weapons, their cruise missiles. But they have a very small number of them, and they're quickly running out without the ability to make more. So what does Russia continue to do? And they continue to go after civilian energy infrastructure. And this is a concession. This is already an admission of defeat from the military. They've looked at the long list of legitimate Ukrainian military targets, and they said, we're not even going to bother. We don't think we can actually defeat the Ukrainian military. That is why they continue to target civilians and go after Ukraine's energy infrastructure. To them, it's the only possibility they can conjure of the Ukrainians surrendering or giving concessions. But this isn't going to work. Odessa was hit pretty hard with some kamikaze drones, and they're currently without power. And this is what life is like now for Ukrainian civilians trying to adapt to these blackouts in Ukraine. Yes, this is annoying, this is inconvenient, but do these people look like they're about to surrender the city to Russia just because they're experiencing power outages? I guess the answer is get an adapter, get your charger, and go to a place that has a generator. Here's a video I want to share with you. This is a parody, this is satire, and my guess is this is a Russian woman living in the Netherlands, and she makes this fake video what Russians believe is currently happening in Europe. Russian state TV propaganda is telling their audience that everyone in Europe is starving and freezing to death because they don't have Russian oil and gas. So this clip is about 30 seconds long. Let's have a good laugh together.
Я просыпаюсь в шоке, потому что нет газа и очень холодно. Утром я не умываюсь, потому что вода очень дорогая. Холодильник пустой, и я иду в супермаркет, где сражаюсь за еду, но проигрываю. Иду отнимать крошки у гулек. Но по пути домой меня снова избивают за то, что я русская. Обедаю крошками при свечах, потому что электричество дорогое, и вспоминаю, как хорошо жилось в Россиюшке. Перед сном курю косяк и планирую, в каком гендере я проснусь завтра.
Absolutely savage. But it's not far off from what Kremlin State TV is telling their people what life in Europe now is currently like without Russian gas, without Ruski Mir. Here's an article from the Moscow Times, Russia ramping up production of most powerful weapons. This is according to Russia's ex-president Dmitry Medvedev said on Sunday the country was ramping up production of new generation weapons to protect itself from enemies in Europe, the United States, and Australia. And this is just talk. This is all Russia has at this point, propaganda and empty threats. Russia does not need to increase production of hypersonic cruise missiles. They need helmets and tourniquets and food and medicine for their soldiers on the front lines. This is just absolutely a joke. And this picture of Medvedev is actually from a couple weeks ago in which he visited this tank production factory. And while he was there, he threatened all the workers to meet their production quotas, otherwise they'll be sent to jail. And if they're sent to jail, they can get out of jail by joining the Wagner Group. And the Wagner Group's going to send them to Bakhmut, and they'll probably be dead in a week. Here's the question I have for you. Who wore the creepy black leather trench coat better? Ex-Russian President Medvedev, surrounded by his military advisors touring a weapons factory, or Adolf Hitler? I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand what they're doing. Last couple feel-good stories I have for you. The first one is this year's Christmas tree in the city of Kharkiv. They had to put it underground in a subway metro stop to protect it because more than likely Russia would target it. Russia hates Christmas, but this is a beautiful Christmas decoration, and I'm sure everyone who goes through this metro stop is enjoying the lights. The next clip I have for you is of a Ukrainian soldier playing the piano in a church that was destroyed by the Russians. I definitely could listen to more of that. Final clip I have for you is of two Ukrainian children asking this Ukrainian soldier to sign their flag. This is very popular with children in Ukraine right now, and he's going to pose for a group picture with the two girls. That's all for this update video. Glory to the heroes, glory to Ukraine. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up. Best way to support the channel. Comments or questions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Till the next update video, take care, be safe.